Honestly, sinigot na to ni Justice Carpio. This was also explained by Attorney J. Batungbakan. And a lot of legal luminaries are saying that, it is not mandatory for you to call out or the international community to recognize how you call your own exclusive economic zone. What is important here is that our position in the West Philippine Sea is in accordance with the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. And this was actually reinforced by the 2016 arbitral award. Regardless as a sovereign nation, as to how we wanted to call the West Philippine Sea or whatever way we want. For example, the Benham Rights, we're calling it now Talampas ng Pilipinas. Since it is ours, we have sovereign rights over this. It doesn't really matter whether the international community would be using a different name for it. Regarding the argument that, hindi pa kasi na-submit to hindi pa kasi na-file to sa ganyan. Senator Tolentino responded to this, that when the Philippine Baselines Act was approved way back in 2009, we have already submitted the coordinates of all this. So it's no longer an issue. How international should the West Philippine Sea be recognized? The mere fact that Google has already used West Philippine Sea now in the Google map, I don't know what is the threshold for us to say that the West Philippine Sea should be used internationally? When we talk about the Kalayaan Island, ang issue dyan, without naming names, ayoko nang banggitin kung sino na nagsabi. But ang Kalayaan Island, it is composed of a lot of maritime features. There are some maritime features that are outside the exclusive economic zone. In particular, this is Pag-asa, Parola, Kota, and Latcam Cape. It is true that it is outside our exclusive economic zone. However, we need to understand that even before we signed UNCLOS, the Presidential Decree 1596, we have already established a local government there. Meaning, we have effective control and administration over all those maritime features, even before UNCLOS was ratified and we signed it before. So, ibig sabihin, we have already possession and occupation of that area in accordance with international customary laws. So, I don't think that it is an issue until now that for some people saying that we don't have sovereign rights over some maritime features that is outside the exclusive economic zone. Because, again, even before UNCLOS happened, the PD 1596 was already enacted. Let's hope meron akong crystal ball dito that can really predict how can we make the Chinese government respect the international law and stop bullying ordinary Filipino fishermen. But right now, the only way that we can handle the Chinese aggression is, of course, through diplomacy and the transparency initiative that we're doing. If you're going to ask me how important are these two things that we're doing, through transparency, we allow the international community to be aware. That's the reason why a lot of countries now are more supportive of our fight. It also allowed our military, our defense department to deepen our security arrangement with other countries. It's because, as what international relations said, through alliance that you build, you can be able to deter a more powerful country. And then when you talk about diplomacy, since then and now, diplomacy has been open. We are still negotiating, we're still talking to the Chinese government. There is a bilateral consultative meeting. And the mere fact that the Chinese embassy still enjoys their nice office in Manila, ibig sabihin, we are still having diplomatic engagement. We talk and we discuss the possibilities of de-escalating. If you're going to ask me, ito na ba talaga ang end-all solution na nakikita natin? For the Philippine government, diplomacy is our main priority. As to how it will impact the Chinese aggression, it's not for us to decide. This peaceful negotiation can only work if the other party would also choose peace instead of conflict.
Thank you.
I don't think that is something that I need to comment on because that's a local government issue. as to how the mayor wanted it to conduct his business, whether in Puerto Princesa or in Calayan Island Group. But again, ulitin ko ulit, probably the local government officials of Calayan see the benefits of having an office here in Puerto Princesa because it's closer to the national government agency. It is closer and much more convenient for them to reach out to all government agencies and even the provincial government. But again, these are just speculations. The local mayor and his councilors have their own reasons why they choose to have an office here. As to how it affect our position in the West Philippine Sea, it's pretty much irrelevant. The mere fact that sila pa rin naman ang elected official as to how they use their office, whether in Pag-asa or here in Puerto Princesa, I think it's immaterial with our decision. Anong kalala? Because the level lumana, parang it appears like the tension has been increasing. No? As to what is happening right now, as to what we are experiencing right now, it's pretty much almost similar with the previous years. The only difference is that ngayon, napag-uusapan na natin. Alam nyo na kapag may mangis ng hinaras, alam nyo na kapag may Coast Guard na winaterkano. But if you're going to ask me, is it more escalatory right now? I don't think so. That has been happening before. May mga mangis na tayong hinaharas, may mga Coast Guard na tayong wina-water cannon, and comparing it then and now, pareho pa rin naman eh. And secondly, may mga trolls na nagsasabi, no? Na hindi, mas madaming insidente ngayon kaysa noon. It's because this time, under this administration for President Marcos, besides from the transparency effort, mas ramdam na ng mga islang Pilipino ang pagpapatulya ng Philippine Coast Guard and even the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. You cannot expect the Chinese government harassing our government vessels kung wala naman tayo doon, right? Because this time around, mas matagal na nagpapatulya ang Coast Guard, mas marami na tayong deploy. At kung sa 2028 ay makakatindig pa ba siya kung iba na ang presidente? Akala ko ganun yung magiging flow ng tanong. Una sila, malayo pa ako sir magre-retire. Bata pa ako eh. 2037 pa yung retirement ko. Just in case the people of the Republic of China is monitoring, mahigit isang dekada ko pang gagawin to. No? Malayo-layo pa yung retirement age ko. I'm just 44 years old right now. So kung nilulook forward na ng China na magre-retire ako, that will still be 2037. Ngayon, kung babaguhin pa, gagawin 57 years old, 2038 pa ako magre-retire. No? Para sa kaalaman ng Chinese Embassy, matagal pa. Kung ang tanong, pag nag-retire ba si Commodore Taliela, hindi na siya ganitong kasing tapang at hindi na siya titin. I don't think so. Even in my private capacity, no? I cannot allow our country na sabihin na, hindi, wala nang maingay kasi retired na si Jay Taliela, wala nang makakaalam ng West Philippines. I don't think that my retirement from the service will prevent me in pushing for rights in the West Philippines. As to whatever capacity that I'll be in, mapapubliko o pampribado, patuloy natin titindigan ang ating laban sa West Philippines. So, if you have a president who would choose to set aside our issues in the West Philippine Sea in dealing with the People's Republic of China, then definitely makaka-apekto to sa ating ginagawa ngayon. And if your follow-up question is, paano na sir, kung iba ang tatahakin ng ibang presidente, ano nang gagawin mo kung wala ng transparency initiative? I already responded to this question, no? Nung tinanong mo ni Christian Esguerra. Ano nang gagawin mo sir kapag ibang presidente nang nanalo ng 2028 and he or she is not aligned pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippines? I said, probably that will be the time that I'm going to hang the uniform. I cannot join the Coast Guard service anymore pretending that everything's okay in the West Philippines. Pretending that there's no Filipino fishermen na hinaharas. Or pretending na friends na tayo ni Xi Jinping or something, right? That the Chinese government already allowed the Filipino fishermen to fish. I don't want to pretend and make lies all of those things na ginawa natin dahil we choose to be silent. So, I'll hang my uniform, and once again, on my private capacity, I will still push for the Chinese accountability every time that the incidents will happen in the West Philippines. For the education, I would like to highlight na meron tayong ugnayan din sa Philippine Information Agency, PIA. No? The Director General of PIA is Ms. Cap de Castro. Alam niyo, when we first, the first few days of the transparency efforts, I visited different parts of the country, telling them about the issues in the West Philippine Sea. And there was one media who came to me and they said that it's wrong to think that all of the information about the news or anything can be sourced out through the social media platforms. Ang sabi niya, hindi daw siya naniniwala na lahat ng Pilipino ay nagbabase sa social media. It's because if you are an ordinary farmer or a son of ordinary fisherman, bago mo pa problemahin na bumili ng smartphone or smart tablet, iisipin mo na kung ano ang pangkakain mo sa susunod na araw. So that argument, according to them, is actually false. Hindi totoo na majority or lahat ng Pilipino, for example, ay kumukuha ng balita sa social media. Ang sabi niya, ang pinagkukuhaan pa rin ng ordinaryong Pilipino na nasa laylayan ng lipunan ay transistor radio. Because wala naman na tayong free TV. Kung wala ka rin cable, hindi mo rin magagamit ng free TV. Or meron local TV stations dito. But again, these are grassroots media. So, because of that, I contacted the PIA through the support of the Presidential Communications Office na magkaroon tayo ng interview sa mga radyo. And this is the reason kung bakit ako nai-interview ng mga radyo. I think na-interview na rin ako ng radyo dito. From Monday to Friday, between 7 to 9, meron ako sa radio interview from different parts of the country. May interview ako sa Agusan, Surigao. Araw-araw ay allocate time para siguraduhin makakasagot ako sa mga tanong ng mga nasa grassroots natin na radio broadcaster at may papaliwanag nila ito sa mga Pilipino. That's why I'm really thankful sa PIA in the Presidential Communications Office for doing this. Second, pagdating sa Department of Education, Secretary Sani Angara is actually very supportive na isama ang sa edukasyon ng kabataan natin ang issue ng West Philippines Sea. As a matter of fact, mag-roll out na yung bagong curriculum for the 4th grade, 6th grade, and 10th grade nitong papasok na school year. Nakasama na dito ang issue ng West Philippines Sea. They also used the comic book project that the NTFWPS has created with the support of Justice Carpio, Attorney J. Batong Bakal, Department of Foreign Affairs, and the Department of Justice. At ito na ngayon ay isa sa mga recognized na reference natin sa pagtutulong ng mga kabataan sa West Philippines. Kung ang tanong, will this be enough? Of course, I'm still open sa recommendation ng ating mga senador at ng ating mga kongresista to really institutionalize West Philippine Sea as part of the education ng ating mga elementary and secondary schools. Kapag isinabatas na natin ito, kahit sino pa maging presidente ng 2028, sigurado tayo na it will still be part of the education. Siguraduhin ang susunod na salinlahing Pilipino ay naiintindihan kung ano ang ipinaglalaban natin at bakit natin ito ipinaglalaban. Thank you. Well, this issue has been raised already sa National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea. No? And on the part of the Coast Guard, we always retrieve itong mga ganitong mga rocket missile debris. And then we write the formal incident, we submit it to the NTFWPS, and then those cognizant government agencies, for example, the Department of Foreign Affairs or the Department of Justice, they make the necessary policy recommendation for the President to act. Thank you. Nagpapasalamat ako sa City Government of Puerto Princesa sa resolution na naipasa nila sa kanina sa session nila kaninang umaga. I would also like to thank first Mayor Lucilo Bayron for expressing his support sa ating pagtindig sa West Philippine Sea. At thank you din no, sa ating mga media friends. Para sa akin, ang ating mga media friends, I call you truth amplifiers. I cannot do this all by myself. No? Baka napaus na ako, hindi pa ako nakakaisang daang taong nakumbinsi pagdating sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. But through the truth amplifiers natin, mga kasamahan natin sa media, mas napapataas natin ang reach ng ating messaging pagdating sa West Philippine Sea. That's why everywhere I go, I always look forward na makakausap ng mga local media at mapaliwanagan lalo ang issue natin sa West Philippine Sea. Because you are the most important instrument of our national government to reach out to the youth and to all those people from different walks of life. And para sa akin, ang biggest struggle that we are facing in the West Philippine Sea are not actually the monstrous size of Coast Guard vessels of the People's Republic of China or the PLA Navy warships. Ang pinakamalaking challenge natin day to day is actually misinformation and fake news. Ito ang patuloy na gumigiba at nagpapahina ng ating posisyon bilang Pilipino pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. And I recognize how important the role of ordinary Filipinos, hindi lamang ng media, na while you are enjoying the comfort of your home, sa social media, alam naman natin, lahat tayo, we have different social media platforms. Mga some of us even have like 10 social media platforms. So please care to comment or call out those fake news na itinakakalat nila. And most importantly, para sa akin, ang pinakamahalagang kontribusyon ng ordinaryong Pilipino pagdating sa issue ng West Philippine Sea is for us to be educated and for us to be able to go out and vote in 2028. This is our strongest statement, to make sure that the next president will be someone who's going to stand up for our rights in the West Philippines. Maraming salamat.